Right now, your brain is lying to you, not in some abstract philosophical way, but literally fabricating information, filling in gaps with complete fiction, and convincing you that what you're experiencing is reality when it's actually a carefully constructed illusion. You think you see the world as it is. You believe your memories are accurate recordings of what happened. You trust that your mind processes information objectively, weighing facts and coming to logical conclusions. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Every single one of those assumptions is wrong. Your brain isn't a camera that captures reality. It's more like a magician, constantly performing tricks so seamless you never catch them. And the most disturbing part, even when you understand how these tricks work, you still can't stop falling for them. Think about the last conversation you had yesterday. You remember it clearly, right? The words that were said, the tone, the context. But what if I told you that memory has already been altered? That your brain has quietly edited details, filled in gaps with assumptions, and constructed a version of events that feels completely real, but contains elements that never actually happened. This isn't some rare psychological disorder. This is how every human brain operates, every single day. We walk around believing we have direct access to truth, when in reality we're living inside a sophisticated simulation created by our own minds. Take something as simple as seeing. Right now you're looking at these words, and it feels effortless. But your brain is performing millions of calculations every second, making countless assumptions about light, shadow, depth, and meaning. And sometimes those assumptions are spectacularly wrong. Look at any optical illusion and you'll see what I mean. Two squares that appear to be completely different colors but are actually identical. Lines that seem to bend when they're perfectly straight. Images that appear to move when they're completely static. Your visual system, the thing you rely on most to understand reality, can be fooled by simple patterns drawn on paper. But visual tricks are just the beginning. Your brain lies to you about memory, about logic, about the past, and about other people. Creates false certainties, manufactures fake recollections, and builds elaborate justifications for decisions you made for completely different reasons than you think. Here's where it gets really unsettling. Millions of people share identical false memories. Not similar memories, identical ones. They remember the same events that never happened, the same details that are completely wrong, the same facts that are demonstrably false. And when you show them evidence that their memory is incorrect, they don't just disagree. They often become more convinced that their false memory is true. Remember the Berenstain Bears? Those children's books with the family of cartoon bears? If you grew up reading them, you probably remember them as the Berenstain Bears, with an E. Except they were never spelled that way. Ever. The books have always been Berenstain with an A. Always. You can check every single book ever published, and you'll find the same spelling. Berenstain. But millions of people have vivid, confident memories of seeing Berenstain on those book covers. They remember the E clearly. Some even remember thinking it was a strange way to spell the name. This isn't just a simple mistake. It's a collective false memory, so widespread that people refuse to believe the evidence of their own eyes when shown the actual books. This phenomenon has a name, the Mandela effect, named after the false memory many people share of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, when he actually lived until 2013. People don't just vaguely recall hearing about his death. They have detailed memories of watching news coverage, seeing footage of his funeral, remembering exactly where they were when they heard the news. Memories that feel completely real but describe events that never happened. Your brain doesn't just lie about the past, it lies about the present too. Right now, as you process this information, your mind is unconsciously filtering what you pay attention to based on what you already believe. If these ideas align with your existing worldview, you're probably nodding along, finding them reasonable and well supported. If they challenge beliefs you hold dear, you might already be thinking of counter-arguments, looking for flaws in the reasoning, or feeling a subtle resistance to accepting what you're hearing. This isn't a character flaw. It's not about intelligence or education. It's about how human brains are wired. We have a built-in tendency to seek information that confirms what we already think, and to ignore or dismiss information that contradicts our beliefs. Psychologists call this confirmation bias, and it's so powerful that it can make smart, well-educated people hold on to completely false beliefs, even when presented with overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Scientists have demonstrated this in controlled experiments. They'll show people the exact same research study, but participants who support different political positions will come away with completely opposite conclusions about what the data proves. Both groups will claim the study supports their view and dismiss contrary evidence as flawed or biased. The same facts processed by different brains with different pre-existing beliefs create entirely different realities. But here's what makes this truly disturbing. The people in these experiments aren't lying. They genuinely believe their interpretation is correct. They're not consciously distorting the information. Their brains are doing it automatically, without their awareness or permission. They're experiencing their biased interpretation as objective truth. This means that right now, as you listen to this, your brain is subtly shaping how you understand these concepts based on countless factors you're not even aware of. Your past experiences, your current mood, your political beliefs, your relationships, even what you had for breakfast this morning. All of these things are influencing how you process this information. And the most unsettling part, you can't just decide to stop these processes from happening. Even when you know about cognitive biases, even when you understand how your brain tricks you, you still fall for the same illusions. Knowledge alone isn't enough to overcome the fundamental architecture of human cognition. Your mind is lying to you right now, and it will keep lying to you for the rest of your life. The question isn't whether you can stop it. The question is what you're going to do once you truly understand just how deep these deceptions go. So what do you do with this knowledge? How do you live knowing that your most basic perceptions, your clearest memories, your most logical thoughts are all potentially compromised? The first step is accepting that certainty is an illusion. That feeling of absolute confidence you get about certain facts, certain memories, certain beliefs, it's not evidence that you're right. It's just another trick your brain plays. The most dangerous lies are the ones that feel most true. Think about how this changes everything. Every argument you've ever had where you were absolutely certain the other person was wrong. Every time you've dismissed someone else's perspective because it seemed obviously false. Every strong opinion you hold about politics, relationships, or how the world works. All of these are built on a foundation of potentially false information processed by a system designed to deceive you. This doesn't mean nothing is true or that all perspectives are equally valid. Reality exists, facts matter, but your access to both is far more limited and distorted than you've been led to believe. You're not the objective observer of truth you think you are. You're more like someone trying to understand a movie while wearing colored glasses, sitting at an angle, with someone whispering commentary in your ear. The people around you are dealing with the same limitations. They're not seeing reality any more clearly than you are. Their memories are just as distorted, their biases just as strong, their certainties just as false. That person who holds political views that seem insane to you, they're processing information through the same flawed system you are. They're experiencing their worldview as obviously correct, just like you experience yours. This realization can be paralyzing. If you can't trust your own mind, how do you make decisions? How do you know what to believe? How do you function in a world where your primary tool for understanding reality is fundamentally broken? But there's something liberating here too. Once you truly understand how your mind deceives you, you can start to work with it instead of against it. You can't fix these biases, but you can learn to account for them. You can't stop your brain from lying, but you can develop a healthier relationship with uncertainty. Start questioning the things you're most certain about. When you feel that surge of absolute confidence, that's exactly when you should pause and ask what you might be missing. The stronger your conviction, the more likely your brain is protecting you from information that contradicts your beliefs. Look for your blind spots. Notice when you automatically dismiss information without really considering it. Pay attention to the sources you trust and ask yourself why you trust them. Are they actually more reliable, or do they just tell you things you want to hear? Practice holding multiple perspectives simultaneously. Instead of trying to figure out which view is correct, try understanding why different people might reasonably come to different conclusions. This doesn't mean every opinion is equally valid, but it does mean the world is usually more complex than your brain wants you to believe. Accept that you're going to be wrong about things. Probably important things. Probably things you're currently very confident about. This isn't a failure of intelligence or character. It's the human condition. The smartest, most careful thinkers in history have held beliefs that seem obviously false to us now. Most importantly, develop comfort with not knowing. Your brain craves certainty so desperately that it will manufacture fake confidence rather than admit ignorance. But real wisdom often looks like saying, I don't know, or I'm not sure, or I might be wrong about this. This isn't about becoming paralyzed by doubt or falling into relativism where nothing matters because nothing can be known. It's about becoming more honest about the limitations of human perception and cognition. It's about building a more accurate model of how your mind actually works instead of how you wish it worked. The paradox is that accepting how much your mind lies to you actually makes you more capable of finding truth. When you stop pretending to have perfect access to reality, you can start developing better tools for navigating uncertainty. When you acknowledge your biases, you can begin to compensate for them. When you recognize that your memories and perceptions are constructions rather than recordings, you can start to question them more productively. Your mind will keep lying to you. That's not going to change, but now you know. And that knowledge, uncomfortable as it might be, is the beginning of something like wisdom. Not the false certainty your brain wants to give you, but the real thing. The kind that comes from understanding just how little any of us actually know, and how much more there is to discover. The question isn't whether your mind is lying to you anymore. The question is what you're going to do now that you know it is.